Back in Houston, Texas at the Hilton Post Oak here in Southwest Houston for the Southland Conference Football Media Days presented by Levy Recognition and Ready. Great to have you with us as we continue to look ahead to the upcoming football season. We just heard from the Lions of Southeastern, and now we move on to the Demons from Northwestern State. Take a look.
Sometimes you just feel tired, you feel weak, and when you feel weak, you feel like you want to just give up. But you gotta search within you and get that motivation to not give up and not be a quitter, no matter how bad you want to just fall flat on your face.
On the sideline, Aubrey Scott. It is a foot race. 10-5 touchdown, Demons. Comes on till the lights go out, till my leg give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out, and my high, I'm on my phone, till the roof comes on, till the lights go out, till my leg give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out, and my high, I'm on the roof. It is intercepted. Guess who? Shamar Bartholomew. Comes on till the lights go out, till my leg give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out, and my high, till the roof comes on, till the lights go out, till my leg give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out, and my high, I'm till my bones.
As soon as the verse starts, I eat it at MC's heart. What is he thinking? I'm not to go against me, smart, and it's absurd how people hang on every word. I probably never get the props I feel I ever deserve, but I'll never be served. My spot is forever reserved. If I ever leave Earth, that would be the death of me first. Cause in my heart of hearts, I know nothing could ever be worse. That's why I'm clever when I put together every verse. My soul
Till the roof comes on, till the lights go out, till my leg give out, can't shut.
The numbers, head coach Brad Laird, fourth season at the helm in Natchitoches, returning 19 starters this season, 7 on offense, 9 defensively, 3 on special teams. And they finished strong with a big victory on the road that took them into the offseason with a lot of confidence. That win over UIW. See, the season opener will be coming up early September 4th against North Texas. Pleasure to be joined on stage here by the head coach himself, Brad Laird. Great to have you with us today, Coach. Looking forward to the new season. I know you're excited as well. We'll hand it off to you for some opening remarks.
Well, thanks, Randy. I think Maddie kind of said it earlier. Has the season even stopped? As we, anytime you come to Media Day, especially the Southland Conference Media Day, always an exciting time of the year because you know what's right around the corner, and that's the opportunity for these young men, the two to my left, to have the opportunity to be able to go out and compete, and glad to be able to do it live. I know, last year as we went into the season doing a virtual media day, but to be able to have the opportunity to be here live, the conversations with coaches and administration last night it's what this conference is all about, because, I'll get into talking about the conference and our conference opponents. But first, I want to thank Tom and his staff. To be able to have the opportunity to be back here, to be able to look you in eye to eye and be able to do this live, that's a great credit. Great venue, great organization. Also, Byron Boston, had an opportunity to speak with Byron earlier as we were talking about, the fall season, which was a normal fall for him, and then playing games in the spring. And again, it's like it hasn't stopped. But appreciate what you do for this conference and within the Southland Conference. Great head coaches. I know you've had probably the opportunity to meet the student athletes that are with the head coaches, but that's what makes this conference unique. For 60 minutes on a Saturday afternoon or a Saturday night, we're going to compete to win the football game, more so than anybody else. But before the game, after the game, you can walk across there, you can shake their hands, and that's what this conference is about. That's what it's made up of with these head coaches. It's also an honor to represent Northwestern State University. Dr. Marcus Jones, our president, Mr. Greg Burke, our athletic director. We've got 3 that's with us today. Jason Pugh, our SID that we talk about the coaches and the student athletes as they had to go through COVID and go through last year. what our sports information director, what they had to go through day in and day out, 7 days a week, covering some type of sport, some type of sporting events. Brad Welburn, assistant SID, and then Davey Antilli with our video. So appreciate those guys being here, representing Northwestern State, along with our 2 student athletes. Couldn't ask for 2 better young men to represent Natchitoches, Louisiana, Northwestern State. P.J. Harrington, a safety, and then Gavin Landry, a wide receiver. Gavin being, I think it's one of 200, Tom, you can correct me if I'm wrong, semifinalists for the Campbell Trophy. And when you become a semifinalist, there's less than 200 student athletes that have the opportunity, and he was one of those. So, that's what it's all about. We're going to talk about football, but overall, being the best student athlete and having the great experience that you can have. First, I want to rewind. Usually as we stand up here, we rewind to the spring. How did spring go? But I think it's rewinding all the way back to August. I think it was August 5th as our players found out that the Southland Conference has postponed competing in the fall. And, for us as coaches, year in and year out, we have the opportunity to coach. But you think about the short time frame of a student athlete from 18 to 22-year-olds to have the opportunity to play a game that they love. That's a short window. And at that particular time, when that window in their mind has been taken away, not knowing exactly what the schedule would be. And so as we kind of went through fall ball. I'd never gone through what they call fall ball. We've gone through spring ball. We've gone through fall camp. And I said, so what are we going to call the 15 practices in the fall? I mean, it's different. It's something. And so we called it fall ball. And I tell you, when we kicked off fall ball, our first practice was October 6th. It was kind of felt some type of normalcy because we were able to go out there and put helmets and pads on, have a football in our hand, and go play and go have fun and go coach. And I think that was for those 15 practices, you saw some type of normalcy from our student athletes. Well, you fast forward to the spring. It's not spring ball, it's not fall camp, it's spring camp. So we ended up naming it spring camp. But when you show up on January and it's 40 degrees, there's no camp that's associated with that because fall camp, it's 100 degrees in August. And here we are, it's 40 degrees in January. So there's no way we're getting ready for a season. And but as we went through what we called spring camp and finally, after the first game being postponed with not about COVID, you approach everything, you got COVID, and all of a sudden you get to week 1, and we're postponing a game that has nothing to do with COVID but snow and ice, of all things. You don't have that in August. You're not getting the game postponed in August because of snow and ice. But our kids were very resilient. That next week, so our schedule kind of changed a little bit, but we were finally able to kick it off and go through those 6 weeks. And I'm going to tell you, you learn a lot about your football team. We learned a lot about our football team throughout those 6 weeks. So, as we move forward post-spring, the first thing we had to identify is our roster. Because when you have 20 guys that have graduated and or have, played their senior seasons, there's decisions that they have to make. Are they going to come back and compete for maybe that 6th year? Are they going to start making plans, doctors, some are going to be a doctor. Some are going to go into business. So we had to identify that. And so out of that, we had 15 of the 20 that decided to come back. So that was the first thing, to identify the roster. Second thing was to put a staff together. For the first time going into 4 seasons, have we lost a coach. And ironically, we lost one after week 1, which has never happened, because you think about FBS was through playing, and so they're getting ready for spring. Well, they're trying to get all their coaches together, so we actually lost a coach between week 1 and week 2 of the spring season. And so you fast forward to this summer, where we had the opportunity to hire 4 new coaches. On the offensive side, Rashad Jackson is our wide receivers coach and our special teams coordinator. Joey Fitzgerald, who has ties to this conference, will be our quarterbacks coach. Kevon Beckwith, bringing him back to Louisiana as our defensive line coach. And then Josh Jones, who also has ties within this conference, as our safeties coach. So to add guys to some of the consistent guys with Brad Smiley as our offensive coordinator and Mike Lucas as our defensive coordinator, Devon Lockett, our assistant head coach and corners. Those guys have really meshed well, along with Jay Pond, who has been our O-line coach but now recruiting coordinator. So excited about the new ideas and where we are as a staff, and excited about that as we continue to move forward. And excited to get back on the field. We talking a little bit about our football team offensively. With 7 starters coming back. You look at the first position, which everybody looks at, is the quarterback battle that we're going to have going into fall camp. We're excited to see that, seeing it play out a little bit this summer, but look forward to once we get into fall camp to be able to see that play out. We got 3 O-linemen that are back, I think, providing and looking for depth at that position. But it starts with Scooter Adams and what he did last year in the 6 games, a running back that really came into his own, and he'll be the first one to credit the offensive line as they continue to get better. But Scooter had a great year for us, and looking forward to him continuing to develop at that position. Wide receiver, again, with Gavin, we've had a lot of guys that have played a lot of snaps. It's who's going to be the guy to step up. And I think that's what we're interested to see as we go through fall camp as well. Defensively, probably a little bit more experience back defensively with 9 starters. And it starts with Jomar Valson and P.J. Harrington. P.J. Harrington's a safety for us that's here, that's kind of the quarterback in the back end. You got to have those guys that's able to direct traffic, because that's going to be one of the keys for us defensively, is to make sure that we are able to provide depth at the safety position, be consistent at the corner position. But, you really look at our football team defensively. I think you look at the defensive line that has that rotated several guys that has a lot of experience, and then our linebacker crew starting with Jomar Valson. And so excited to bring in the new guys offensively and defensively to tie into the guys that we have. And then the third is special teams. I talked about Rashad Jackson coming in as our special teams coordinator and what he's brought so far in July as we continue to make changes in those areas. But things that will not change is Donovan Duvernay, who really came on last year as a returner, kickoff returner for us, averaged, I think, 28.1 yards per return. Very dynamic with the ball in his hands. So excited to have him back. And also his ability, as he has learned the system, moving him to safety, to also be able to play at safety. Both kickers, we had Scottie Roblow, our punter. He did both going into last year. We said, look, let's focus on one. And he did a great job focusing on being the punter. Excited to have him back, and then Eddie Godina to finish the way he finished as our kicker, to kick the game-winning field goal against UIW. So, you look at the team success more so than individual success, and our team understands that. Focus on the things that you can control. We say that all the time. We said it before COVID. We said it before injuries. We said it before playing in the spring. The things that you can control, that's your responsibility. The things that you can't control, you move forward and do the very best you can. And our guys that we've brought back, that's with us, we all have high expectations going into the fall. And this is no different because of the guys that are in that locker room. And that's what we're excited about. The schedule, we got 2 non-conference teams that we have not played before, with North Texas, who we open up with on the road, and then Alcorn State. We go to Alcorn week 2. They did not play last year. They had 2019 Player of the Year, and then also the conference champs. So looking forward to the opportunity of that. And then the Southland Conference. we open up with Southeastern. I know they're one of our, I think Tom said, double plays. We play them twice. We play Houston Baptist twice. And we play McNeese State twice. And I've been asked a couple times this morning about that. And my answer has been, within the Southland Conference, whether you play a team once, you play them twice, week in and week out, you better be ready to compete and fight. Because at any point, any football team is going to have the opportunity to win. And that's going to be no different this year in this conference. And I think that's what makes this conference so exciting. The Southland Conference had the national champion, and that's the expectations as we move forward to the 2021 season, is to be in the same boat and have the national championship within the Southland Conference. So appreciate having the opportunity to be here, again, being live. And Randy, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, very good. Appreciate the opening remarks from head coach Brad Laird. If you have a question for Coach Laird, raise your hand. We'll get the microphone to you. Take a couple of questions. Richard.
Well, one, it's UT Martin is September 18th, home game. Yes, sir. That's a home game. Yeah, that one's at home. So first two on the road, and then UT Martin at home.
Okay. And then, Coach, you kind of touched about it just a minute ago, though, talking about having to play, I guess 2 games with 3 other teams in a conference. And that's kind of unique. Just talk a little bit more about that, having to face them. And what are the pros and cons of playing a team twice?
Well, I'm just going to talk about the pros of it because, when you have the opportunity to compete against teams and coaches within this conference, you know what you're going to get. And that's what makes it exciting to be able to play them twice. Again, like I said, you play them once, you play them twice, it's going to be a dogfight. But to be able to have the opportunity to play them twice, and you got to understand, a lot of these guys, they played against each other in high school. There's a lot of rivalries that go back to high school within the state of Louisiana or Texas and them competing. And so, it's fun for them to continue that rivalry in college, and then us as coaches. Timmy back there, that's whether we play him once or twice, I want to beat him both times. And he's the same way. But we know off the field that we have the respect for each other in this profession as we move forward.
Question to the left.
Tilly, NSU TV. You played in the spring, something we haven't done. We go 1-5, but when you look at the games, a handful of plays in that schedule, that winning percentage could be flipped. How is the team taking what they did in the spring and moving toward the fall?
Well, and I think, one, when you go through adversity, you find out who you are as coaches and players. And I think we did that because I don't know if there's any more adversity you can go through than the Southeastern game. And but to get through the situation, to lose the game the way we did versus Southeastern, but turn around and win the last game the way we did, because we won that game just like we lost the other. That tells you about that group of men. And that's what excites me the most. And that's what I found out about this football team. But the thing that, there's 3 things that we're going to talk about: focus, fight, and finish. And the one is focus. Focus on the things that you can control, but also the little things. And doing the little things right, focusing on the little things, focus when you get tired. And, once we got back this summer, that's the thing that we have kind of focused on from a strength and conditioning standpoint that carries over onto the field. So, you play 5 games within a touchdown. You have to be able to finish. And I think that's another thing that this football team this summer has done and will continue to do as we get through fall camp.
Brad, we'll go to Maddie in just a second. I want to ask you just to follow up. What did that last win at UIW mean for you guys going into your offseason?
Huge. And I think more so, Randy, the way we won it.
Yeah.
At that particular time with the inconsistencies that we've had with that unit, but there was never a second guess in my mind or the coach's mind to send that unit out there. And so I think the way the season ended and the way we won it, you're able to reflect back and see how these guys overcame the things that they overcame. But to kickstart us going into the summer, it was huge. And you could tell, coaches and players.
2-point victory there on the road in San Antonio over UIW. Good stuff from Coach Laird. Right now, we'll come back and talk about their schedule for the last couple of moments. Right now, let's toss it over to Maddie Morris. She's hanging out with a couple of Demon players.
Thank you so much, Randy. I am joined by senior wide receiver Gavin Landry and junior safety PJ Harrington. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're just going to get right into the questions. Gavin, for you, Coach mentioned there was a handful of seniors that decided to come back with the COVID, regulations being able to come back. So you're going to be a super senior. How are you going to use your experience that you've experienced the last couple of years and be that leader for the team this year?
I definitely think it's a unique situation with, how the COVID year and all that, but definitely, just not something I, made a promise to myself was not leaving anything back, not holding anything back, leaving no stone unturned, and, just making sure I'm doing everything that I can, to leave a good legacy at NSU, and whether it's in meetings, explaining something, or even to the younger guys that, they might not play for 2 or 3 years, but, just from the experience I've had of having to learn the offense and being a walk-on, and, just to see all the growth I've experienced in my time at Northwestern State is definitely something that I'm just trying to make sure that I'm doing everything I can, to truly reach home and be a good teammate, and just, that's kind of one of my main goals is just, to be a good teammate, and that be the ultimate way I want to be remembered is, what he did for others, and, whether it's picking up trash or taking out the trash, and just doing the little things like Coach Laird said, and, not being afraid to address stuff and stuff that we used to let slide, but seeing it come up in the spring and ultimately, costing us games just because of little bitty things, and to finally have a group of guys that, see the importance of, picking up a towel that, is you picking up the towel going to win us a football game? No, but, the principle behind it ultimately can, and, having guys bought into that, it's made my role fun, and, just having guys all on the same page, and it's definitely something I'm excited about, and, getting, like you said, this super senior year started, and like I said, leaving no stone unturned.
I love it. That's awesome. And I can tell that you are a Demon till you die. PJ, for you, on the other hand, last year was your first year playing for the Demons. You were a transfer in from East Mississippi Community College. What was the biggest transition from you from playing at the JUCO level to here playing with the Demons last season?
Football is football. I mean, it don't matter where you at, you always got to compete and give it your all every play. But my biggest transformation coming from East was learning the playbook and interacting with others. I mean, the playbook, I had to get in it real fast, knowing that I had to come in playing right away, being the leader that I can be, and learning the other people and learning how they interact with each other and then grow and care for each other. And it's just been a wild experience for me.
And then for both of you, we talked about it with Southeastern a little bit ago. We've only been without football for 3 or 4 months. You played a game in April, and here we are turning around and looking to play a fall season. Gavin, for you, what has the preparation been like for this upcoming fall season?
I think it's definitely been, I got home, or we finished our last game at UIW. I took, 2 weeks off, went on a little trip to see my girlfriend in Nashville, and just kind of got my legs back underneath me, let myself recover. It felt like I, kind of needed to do what I needed to do and, take some time off, and then got back in the weight room, got right back to it. It's one of my favorite parts of playing football is, the off season and the preparation and the training. So getting to go back home and be with my trainer at Pro Power Source in Brewley, Louisiana, and, just kind of foot back on the gas, making sure I'm as strong as I can be, doing a lot of mobility, stretching, making sure, 23 years old, still playing college football, that 6th year gets rough on you. So just kind of making sure, stretching that back out. And I know Coach Laird over there has some back problems sometimes, but, just kind of making sure I'm doing everything I can, stay healthy and ultimately, get through this last season.
And then PJ, for you, how are you looking to step up as a leader for the defense this season?
Being able to have people depending on me is very exciting. Coming to the season, coming back, leading the defense, a very hungry defense, a very good defense. We all have the same goal, and that's to go out and be the best defense in the Southland and the nation, to be honest, and just perform every weekend.
Well, we look forward to watching you guys take the field this fall. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll send it back to Randy for a few more questions with Coach.
Ma'am, thank you.
All right, Maddie, thanks, guys. Look forward to the season ahead. Final moments here with Brad Laird, head coach of Northwestern State. Coach, Let's focus in on your schedule now. What stands out to you as you get ready for the conference run?
First, when Gavin said I had back problems, does that mean I'm getting older? Coach Rebo, does it? Does it? Okay. Yeah, I mean, and excited about the schedule. One, because, when you look at 11-game schedule, but also, the 3 non-conference, 2 of them are non-conference opponents that we have not played. I think when you look at North Texas, the location as far as for us from a recruiting standpoint, from our alumni, our community, the opportunity to be able to travel to that game. And then also Alcorn, a team that did not play in the spring or fall last year. You got to go back to, 2019 as their quarterback replaced the quarterback that was preseason Conference Player of the Year, went on to win Conference Player of the Year, and, of course, them going on to win their conference. So, and then UT Martin coming here. So, we'll know real quick exactly what our football team is about. And then starting conference with Southeastern. And as we talked about, the 3 double plays that we'll have. But 5 home games. 6 away games. Once we get into conference, we'll have 4 home and 4 away. So excited about the opportunity early on with a couple of non-conference opponents that we hadn't played, and then getting into conference.
All right. Appreciate your time here on stage. Brad Laird, head coach, Northwestern State. Coach, best of luck to you this season. Look forward to it all getting started on September 4th. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to take a break on the Southland Conference Football Media Days presented by Levy Recognition and Ready. When we come back, we'll hear from the Nichols Colonels.